never came. So get some courage in your ass, because that's what it took. And I know the shit he said. Yeah, but put the courage on that shit and enforce it then. And I always say, if there is better evidence, bring it forth. I will submit to it. If there is better evidence, bring it forth. The challenge, I will submit to it. Now, y'all know I had that debate with Larry Elder the last time I was up in here. And we kicked his ass. And one of the things that we did was I sent all these boxes of information. He come with 2 folders. And he was saying shit that wasn't even true, because he just felt because he was who it was, that made it so. But that wasn't the standard of the people who were in the room. The people in the room say, show me this shit. And we just show you operation. If there is a better analysis, bring it forth. We will submit to that. That's a proactive in the process operation. Nothing secret about it. We have no secrets. We have no secret meetings. We don't have secret phone conversations. We sleep good because there's nothing to maintain. We have nothing to fear. But not fulfilling the reason we were born. I'm scared of that. I'm scared of that. And I remember when the shit was getting ready to break out in New York, and everybody was saying, look, man, sisters, you can hear on the tape, Barry Shine go holler out, women and children off the stage, women and children off the stage. And I looked out the back, and I could see people just organizing. College said, unhook those railings, decide now who will step forward. You can see people getting in position and shit, you know. I said, look at this shit. And just when I thought that shit couldn't have got no higher, he said, you take them sticks and ram it up their ass. And then people just went, and it was a feeling like you went, shit. College, ain't it great to have their ass outnumbered? And all of a sudden the police, who felt like they had us surrounded, all of a sudden at the same moment felt like, damn, we're in the middle of this shit. These motherfuckers got us surrounded. They look convincing. They started moving the blue shirts out. They started deciding they didn't want the women to get fought. And I was glad there wasn't a lot of black police. I got one film showing you policemen for 10 blocks lined up waiting for assignment. And you just look at their faces and you see ain't but 5 brothers out of 10,000 hunkies lined up, which was good. And then we did find the blacks, they had taken positions way out on the peripheral. And we would thank them, thanks you. I said, man, you know we ain't getting in that shit. That was important. Because when you go downtown, there is a defection factor. You will have perpetrators who have penetrated, but there is a defection factor. And then there is the factor that most of the people want to be with the winner. They don't give a fuck who it is. And then there's a bunch of people who ain't into shit. They don't care which way it goes. So you got to add those in. So it don't take everybody to pull it off. You just got to know how it all links back together. All right. Eddie Williams, Joint Center for Political Studies. He the man of the group now. He's Grand Sire Archon. At a Washington, D.C. bootleg. But that says that they're maintaining knowledge on, so that means that all those under them have to do the same. And then it's Sigma, 9 squares, they've obscured it here. Those 9 squares are the 9 chambers of Kabbalah. It says in that book that like Skull and Bones at Yale, we went up to New Haven, Connecticut, and shit, it's the city of the 9 squares. And there was all the Kabbalistic translation as to why they put the 9 squares, which is the 9 squares of Saturn, which is the structure that's a circle within a circle. And it gets into the word Azazel. And then if you remember the flick Fallen, when Denzel Washington wiped the damn name off the wall, it was Azazel. Then he pulled a book down, which was actually Manly Palmer's Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. And he opens it up to a certain chapter. Very important stuff. I thought it was very important in the flick. I challenge you to go check it, The Devil's Advocate, which I thought was a profound movie to hear the arrogance of evil, translated by saying we pump people up with the thoughts of themselves. Vanity. And why was the devil, what was the devil? He was a lawyer. Because law is the devil's creation, child. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's the Constitution. And the devil just went up and claimed it in the movie. Now, it's bullshit. But the key thing is, at one point in the movie, they're walking around to a subway. Before they go down, they walk up on a Chinese guy. And he goes, he says, hey, he had a chicken that plays tic-tac-toe, but he ain't here today. Now, the scene don't make no sense till the camera pans back, and you see that the restaurant they're standing in front of is 555 or 15. Because when you say tic-tac-toe, the 9 squares are really tic-tac-toe with a square around it. And so when you say the number 15, that's the sum of those numbers. When you make the magic square, all the numbers come out to 15. If you go to the tarot deck, 15 is the devil card. Base theory on evil, I'll translate all these for you. It's a lot more complicated, but simple. We've reduced it to a translatable form. Now here comes something I think is important. Well, secondary. This is the Boule membership roster. It just explains that the names of themselves that they give to the members are for the exclusive use of the members. It is not for public scrutiny, not to be duplicated in whole or in part for distribution outside the fraternity. Now, one of the things I'm proud of is that we put out the names and the addresses in every city we ever been in. That's part of the obligation, is to make what seeks to be unknown known. Then we tell them about it. Then we ask them to go ask them about it. Then they bring back the engagement. Then we go deeper. Now, this I think has massive implications. Oh, also the Boule has a page. You can jump on their webpage, see the history books, sigmapi5.net. Sigmapi5.net. You can see the history books and all that stuff. But this is from the Alpha Phi Alpha homepage, which I think is very significant. Look at that chapter right here. It suggests that Alpha Phi Alpha men are 75% of all black male lawyers. Now, you may say, well, shit, is that so? Well, there's so much ritual in becoming a lawyer. Even after you pass the bar, they put you through a ritual. If you ask a lawyer about the ritual, he ain't gonna tell you. Because once as an officer of the court, they are sworn never to be against the Constitution, because it's the foundation of their profession. Check? Okay, so now, if the alphas are 75% of all black male lawyers, then how many are kappas? Say they're 5. Let's say the omegas are 5. Let's say Phi Beta Sigma is 5. Let's say Sigma Pi Phi is 5. How many do that leave for just straight brother? How many do that leave for just, if it's 75 plus 5, 5, 5, and 5, how many do that leave for just straight brother? No, I left 5, it's 5 there. Okay, so you got 4 5s plus 75 is 95. Now, problem. Law ain't never helped black folks like it should have. Thurgood Marshall, who was the epitome of black law, was also an informant for the FBI. He also was a 33rd degree Mason, he also was a Boule. The Boule was the original vessel for American military intelligence liaison over the black neighborhoods. The original vessel, 1919, Memphis Commercial Appeal, starts the story of the Boule. Even Du Bois was going to be made a punk under Spingard, who was head of the Negro section, while he was head of the Negro organization. Spingard was head of the Negro subsection of the military intelligence over niggers. And Du Bois was going to be sworn in as his lieutenant to trick niggers into World War I. And you would be a nigger to do that. Now, I don't know, maybe you might not get the significance of this, but what is the significance of ritualized, blindfolded people being 95% of those men who deal on law? What is the implication? Does it seem like just regular bruh don't get a fair break? Not even on the black side. And I raise this up to you to say we have underestimated the penetration. Maybe the shit, you know what? Maybe the fuck the shit is that the hunky don't let them pass unless they've been sworn to something. And I'll tell you this, I'll bet you this. I want you to go out and find a naturopath or any holistic medicine person and ask them, are they a black Greek? I guarantee you 99% of the time they won't be, because if you are a Greek, you must uphold the epitome of medicine, Hippocratic, else you can't be in it. Exactly. Because as an oath taker, that's what you do. You uphold the institution that grants you special status. Why do you know? Because we see in the 95% of all historically black colleges have had an alpha man as president. Well, what do that mean about the rest of them? All the rest of that time, and I'll tell you, we're coming with that computation. You're going to see that 97% of the black college presidents have been Boule members. That means that education can guarantee that they never know the names. And since these would be educated people who would go out in the black community and think they were better than other blacks because they were certified by the education authorities, they would then perpetrate negativity because the attitude was that they knew more, but in fact they knew less. Or had been taught screened education. Now, again, I suggest that you take these tapes and go back and study them, because some of the shit I say may just blow past you. I don't want to lose you. I hope I don't over-clarify shit. But I'm telling you, we've come to some deep foundations about things, and we're acting on them in an uncompromising manner. And I just lay this before you, that it suggests that this shit could be worse than we thought. And that deals with doctors, dentists. I gotta go to a dentist or some shit, and I'm trying to, I go to the dentist. Is you in the boule? I get to go get some teeth while I'm here. Yeah. This is the back of their membership roster. You can see that logo again, that circle within a circle thing, and I'm not going to go any further than that. Now, interestingly enough, Tony Brown got a book that has come out that's supposed to be talking about the Illuminati conspiracy. But as an alpha, I can tell you, and there's a tape I did called Tony Brown Ain't Black. That shows that when we asked him in Indianapolis about whether there was a boule or not, he jumped up. In fact, this is in his book, I think page 22 of his book, Empower the People. He jumped up and said that when he went to Indianapolis, he was Jew-baited by a group of blacks who tried to Jew-bait him into something about B'nai B'rith. When actually, when you hear the tape, and since it was no taping, my friends were taping, you hear on the tape, they asked him about the boule. He says, the boule, it don't even exist. Don't even research that. Then he said, what about Rockefeller, this one? He said, they ain't nobody. If they were somebody, you wouldn't even know who they are. No, the significance of the hunky program is that they can put it right in front of you and you wouldn't recognize it as the hunky program. It ain't hidden hunky program, it's right in your face hunky program. And so part of the people try to make it like it's some secret hidden away hunkies. The hunkies who here are out there, out front, but they've never been taught upon. Or at least their forces make sure you belittle the ones who teach upon them. Anyway, and so he goes on to say he was Jew-baited and everything. And in the tape, you'll hear that part, and the questioner accused him of covering shit up, and he says the only thing he ever been is to the Alphas, and the only secret thing they had was the song, and yeah, the Greeks are actually the original Africans, and a bunch of skewed bullshit. Then he says you gotta fight the Rockefellers, the trilateral, this and that, and he says you fight them by buying gold and oil, both of which are Rockefeller dominated. It's a contradiction. Exactly. So this is how you know the enemy when you come up on them. Like we said, Jesse Jackson. So the MO of the enemy is they will begin to give you double talk. In fact, you'll be listening to them, your head will go. And believe me, when you do this, they go, oh shit, they know. Because they're going to talk to you in an odd sort of way. It's like this thing where you married to somebody and you love them so much you slap. You say, I love you. And they go, damn, do they love me? Do they hate me? Do they love me? And that neutralization, that I don't know if it's tomorrow or yesterday, that makes you do nothing. You get neutralized. Because you can't get an affirmation in either direction. Polarization or clarity is good. But if you give a little of this and a little of that, you don't get nowhere. You get stuck. You fail to make up your mind unless you go for computation. And that's an obligation everyone doesn't have the time to do, because you already told me you was fucked. And that means you don't have time. Okay. Now, oh, you know, the epitome of the white thing is Albert Pike. This is the House of the Mother Supreme in Washington. Albert Pike is buried. That's a bust of Albert Pike. He's buried behind that wall there. That's the great staircase at the House of the Mother Supreme in Washington. They have headquarters for these things. This is 33 columns, 33 feet tall. This is just a few blocks down from the White House on 16th Street. And they got little griffins and gargoyles on the point. And that's what that logo is, a griffin, a gargoyle, a Grecian sphinx, a guardian animal. The epitome of the black people never wanted to be no more than a guard dog for the white man. Okay, now, and that we know they hooked the skull and bones of Yale. And that's a whole nother story. America's Secret Establishment and Skull and Bones will tell you, the Alpha History book says that the fraternities are connected to the Greeks, the core of German universities and the Middle Ages. It got some round table shit to do in there too. The white group is called Round Table. And that round table, let's show you how Andrew White was connected to the Skull and Bones boys, who then taught the alphas how to come forth. But the point is, the round table, the circle within a circle, has deep esoteric symbolism all within it. And that is better established for you in the take-base theory on evil plus the oath takers. And I just leave that at that. The Boule dominated education to the point that in 1919, the black community came against the Boule, believing that they were assigned to destroy education. They wanted to throw out Roscoe Bruce, and 20,000 citizens were demanding his removal. These are black people in 1919 figuring out that the Boule, as a secret society, was taking over black education, sworn to uphold members, and said that if a Boule walked up on another Boule who was doing wrong, he'd let him off. 1919. But somewhere in the middle, they convinced the bulk of the people not an issue. So it didn't reemerge till 90 at the Good Life, when they were here for the convention, July 18th, 1990, LA Times, they put a story on them. They brought the story into the Good Life. We read it to the audience. I left here, went to Morgan State, read it out to them. Sister said, I know my professor got that book. She said, the professor wants the booty. He said, I can see the book if he go out on a date, he wants the booty. She said, Brother Steve, what shall I do? I said, sister, get the book. Now, this raises another question. The sister was proud. She did meet with the brother. She did get the book. She did not give up the booty, and that was due to her skill. But here's another point here. How bad do you want black liberation? Will you go to bed with someone who you don't want to advance black liberation? How many of you here would have sex with someone who you do not want if it would advance black liberation? Raise your hand. Okay, now I need the rest of you to look around the room. Raise your hands, hold your hands. Don't be ashamed. Just look around the room. I want you to see how many people would do anything for black liberation. And right now, the majority of the people will not do it. You can put your hands down. I appreciate all of you. The majority of the people, we can conclude, did not want to do that. Now, there's two things going on. One, I was here last week. I was here last week because I knew it was a big party and shit going on. I had my camera crew here and everything. And what we did was we went around and we was watching people and filming them. They was going in, the party was over, everybody was boo, 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 boo. And we got on camera. I said, well, why do you get this evidence, brother? I said, because when I asked them, will they have sex for black liberation, and they tell me no, I want to show them last weekend when I caught them having sex for no reason at all. Check. Okay. Point. Anybody remember the movie Harlem Nights?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Right? Strategically had to take down the white boy so that the brothers could do the business in the street.
Exactly, right.
You might not like the position, but if you want liberation, you can't tell me you got conditions of doing it. Because that I just showed the rest of you all that it was about 2 out of 5. That means that we got a struggle to go on. If you have to be willing to do anything to make change. But then again, maybe you think ain't shit going wrong. See, maybe we might have to stand up on the wall and pat everybody down and see if maybe America's all right with you. But if it ain't, if you believe it is a violation from the beginning, and as such can never add up to anything, it's at its apex. That's why you see its confusion. When Y2K come, don't let them suck you into martial law. We will start attacking. If they pull that shit out, we will attack immediately. Because we're not going to allow martial law, and we ain't going to let siege and enemy of the state set the climate to make us accept it either. Right? Okay, let's go back. You ain't going to tell me that Monica Lewinsky left Brentwood, LA, and went all the way to the White House as an intern with no grades at all. And went down there and took that head on behalf of the Israeli government.
That's right.
To bring Clinton to his knees and put him in a compromising position. You ain't gonna tell me they ain't out there doing it.
Thank you.
In fact, there's some funny things aside of that, but if you read the book By Way of Deception, They have a group, they have 1,500 agents, they call them swallows. And the term tells you that's all they do. 1,500 people, male and female, who don't do anything but oral sex. And as such, they have the power over the people that they put it on. And that gives the government the power for the needs that they have. So 1,500 worldwide, they call them swallows. I remember when George Clinton was on Politically Incorrect. They said, George, what do you think of the scandal? Shit, George Clinton said, they said, I think it's a case of swallow the leader. And it was ironic that when we get to the by way of deception, and tomorrow you can get a tape from me called Intel 2000, and it suggests that because of the Million Youth March in New York, and it came strong like it did, that we've compelled the intelligence community to come tighter towards us, and as such we have to be tighter towards them so that we don't end up making them think or have the confidence that they can move in on or sacrifice anyone in the operation because we're willing to say it's tit for tat. And usually when it's point for point, few people are willing to risk a point to make a point. Now, so let's go back. How many of you would be willing to have sex with somebody who you didn't want to advance black liberation? Raise your hands. Everybody turn around and look. You got to look now because you need to know. Raise your hands real good now. Don't be ashamed to raise your hand now.
Both hands.
Because the worst part of the story is, if you're a woman, your first assignment is another woman. If you're a man, your first assignment is another man.
This is America.
This is just to test the fact that you mean what you say. See, you thought you was going to get sex with somebody who you really want. Look, you have to get your shit on your own. Okay. So as a point, we just check, no check. Okay.
No check.
You know, I want to know if we straight or not straight. I want to go past the point. Okay, now. Okay, now, we have conceptualized oath takers. Now let's step into it a little deeper. How many people, in the tape called The Plan, I suggest that African people always try to say that the enemy is so many people that we can never conceive what the enemy is. And any of you who are leaving who want to buy tapes or anything, my tapes are out there under the table. We'll put them out for you if you're interested. This is a book called The Leadership Library. It's a book of 12 books. And it says on the front, you can purchase this for about $2,200. It says this: for 25 years, we have engaged in studying and analyzing the structure of American institutions, with emphasis on the leadership of each. We have compiled a database of approximately blank number of people whom we have identified by name, position, title, address, phone, fax number, and email address. These blank number of people are the institutional leaders of the United States. Where they lead, the nation follows. We believe that our work constitutes one of the longest and largest societal studies ever undertaken by a private enterprise for its own account. And in this book are a blank number of people, are nice profiles of the institutional leaders who, where they go, America follows, with pictures and nice profiles and everything. Now, question to you: how many people do you believe are in this manual that represents the number of people who are the institutional leaders of America?